What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video, and today we're going to be talking about the New York Giants completing the first part of their coaching tree sort of search, in which the New York Giants completed that in hiring offensive coordinator Mike Kafka. We're going to get into a little bit of Mike Kafka very soon, but as you guys know, the New York Giants decided to keep Patrick Graham after he was a candidate in the Minnesota job for the head coaching gig, and he didn't get it. I forgot who he lost to. I think Mike O'Connell, the offensive coordinator for the Rams. Patrick Graham, a guy that I didn't really want to lose, but obviously there were other options out there if we were to lose Patrick Graham. But I'm very happy to keep Patrick Graham around as defensive coordinator. And also the New York Giants again retain Thomas McGaughey, the special teams coach or special teams coordinator for the New York Giants. He's been a part of the New York Giants since Pat Shurmur. So you go back to Pat Shurmur, going back to Joe Judge, and now Brian Daboll's sort of regime here with the New York Giants in 2022. And I guess that really speaks to how much the New York Giants really like Patrick Graham and Thomas McGaughey. McGaughey has been a part of 3 head coaching hires so far and retained his job. And honestly, in his Pat Shurmur, when he was with Pat Shurmur, he had one of the best special teams units in the NFL. You look at guys like Riley Dixon and Cody Core, and a lot of these guys on special teams making a lot of plays. Unfortunately, hasn't really been up to par as of late. You would think it would be a lot better when Joe Judge was there, being that he comes from a special teams background. But I'm excited to see Thomas McGaughey back again because I know the potential of what he can do with a special teams, and obviously very happy about Patrick Graham. Now let's get in a little bit of Mike Kafka. Now Kafka was the passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Now the New York Giants unfortunately missed out on quarterback coach and passing team coordinator. Ken Dorsey had the same exact job as Kafka, but in Buffalo. So obviously you know that Daboll is probably more comfortable with Ken Dorsey, being that they work together in Buffalo, and obviously Joe Shane as well. I feel like bringing in those Buffalo Bill guys to New York or New York City, it will be a lot better for familiarity, and obviously they'll do a lot better of a job of coming together on things, being that they worked with each other before, so they know where each other stand and how they want to get things done offensively. So unfortunately we missed out on Ken Dorsey. He was offered the offensive coordinator job for the Buffalo Bills, and of course when it comes down to it, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills offense, or Daniel Jones and the New York Giants offense, and even I would go Buffalo Bills if I was offered a job. So that being said, we move on with Kafka. Kafka is no slouch either. I think everybody just favored Ken Dorsey because of the Brian Daboll connection, but Kafka is also a very good prospect as well, or a candidate for the offensive coordinator job. He was hired by the Kansas City Chiefs back in 2017. Not sure if he had the same exact job. I could be completely wrong, and maybe he did have the same job. I didn't look that far into it, but I know he was hired by Andy Reid in 2017, and I believe that's when Patrick Mahomes came about. It was 2017, so I guess they were hired around the same year. And obviously, I guess I'm not going to flat out say it because I've seen a couple articles say it, but of course people are just going to throw anything into the air. But they say that Kafka had a hand in developing Patrick Mahomes. Now, I think Patrick Mahomes was a superstar from the get-go, but, of course, coaches have some sort of influence on players, no matter how good the players are. They definitely are still learning, especially with how young Patrick Mahomes is. Obviously, the ones he's really learning from are probably, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, and Mike Kafka. So I would hope that Mike Kafka, calls a decent Kansas City offense. Kansas City type offense. What I like about Kansas City more than I like about the Buffalo Bills is that the Kansas City Chiefs have more of a balanced running attack, or a balanced running and passing attack than people think. The Kansas City Chiefs can run the football. They've had a lot of runners in the past. You go back just recently, Jamal Charles is one of the best running backs in this era, And then you move on to a guy like Kareem Hunt, and unfortunately he didn't stick around with the team. And then they had guys like they were making it work with Damian Williams, Darrell Williams, right? And then now they have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now they have Jerick McKinnon back there. Can't forget about Kendrick West and Spencer Ware. Like they had a lot of running backs there that can really deal damage, and they had more of a running game than people really think because of, back with Alex Smith was there. He wasn't really a gunslinger himself, but Alex Smith was there. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, you think gunslinger, you think pass-happy offense, and the Kansas City Chiefs are more balanced than you guys may give them credit for. So I'm excited to see that about Kansas City. Buffalo really doesn't like to run the football. It's not that they don't have the personnel to do it. They just don't like to do it. I mean, I personally think Zach Moss and Devin Singletary are just fine. You go back to LaShawn McCoy days. You go back to Fred Jackson, CJ Spiller days. They've had great running backs. They just don't like to run the ball. They're very pass happy. Of course, I'm bringing up running backs that weren't even in Brian Daboll's offense. But that being said, I really like Kansas City's offense because they run the ball a lot more. They do run the ball a lot more. So that being said, I am excited about Mike Kafka. I'm excited to see what he's going to be doing. Now, the New York Giants do not want Brian Daboll to be calling plays. I guess that's going to be up to Mike Kafka now, if Mike Kafka is going to be calling plays. Now, the New York Giants don't want that. Whether or not that actually happens, if Brian Daboll winds up calling the plays or not, is up to Brian Daboll. Honestly, they should have came to that conclusion before the hiring process began. Like, they should have just laid that out. Like, listen, I want you to be head coach, but I don't want you to call the plays. That's probably should have been talked about during the hiring process. Maybe they just didn't say anything. Maybe they did say something, and Daboll is going to concede to that. But I really want Brian Daboll to be calling the plays. I'm more comfortable with that. I know I just finished saying that Buffalo Bills don't like running the football, but I like Kansas City because they do. But if I'm going to be taking somebody's play calling, I'm going to be taking Brian Daboll's over Mike Kafka. I'm going to be trusting that over Mike Kafka for now. We don't know what Brian Daboll's going to do with this offense, and we don't know what the potential is for Mike Kafka as the offensive coordinator. But he's the passing game coordinator in Kansas City. Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes can sling the ball, and he's done so very well. A lot of great route combinations and so on and so forth, and mixing up that wide receiver personnel. So very excited, guys. Now the New York Giants completed that. Now they got to get into like the position coaches and things like that. But everything else seems like it's working out in our favor. Like, there has not been a hiring so far that I think people don't like. Everybody loved Joe Shane. Everybody loved Brian Daboll, minus a few. And I'll talk about my guy Fisk. But Brian Daboll. And then you've got Mike Kafka. He was like everybody's second option. Of course, Ken Dorsey the first, like I mentioned. Familiarity with Brian Daboll, I think, is the big thing. But Kafka is also a great option. Patrick Graham, I don't think there was anybody that doesn't like Patrick Graham that is a Giants fan right now. I know he had a very underwhelming season with the Giants defense, but they still played their heart out. They still played very well. It's just statistically they didn't look very good because the offense, of course, put them in bad positions. And then special teams coordinator. I know people may want a new coordinator. I'm okay with keeping Thomas McGaughey. Like I said, we've seen his potential. He had one of the best special team units back in, I believe it was 2018, when we had guys like Cody Core and Riley Dixon. I think Michael Thomas was part. I could be wrong. I think Michael Thomas was part of that squad as well. Like I said, could be completely wrong about that. And I think some corners were some. I can't remember if Corey Ballentine was part of that. I'm not sure. But that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new. And more Giants and draft content coming your way. The draft is coming up. Going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. Non-Giants related as well. I mean, of course, we'll mix in some Giants things as well. But a lot of draft content coming your way. And I'll see you guys in the next video.